Hey everyone, Genome here, coming at you with the next episode of The Copper Mine, my series where I take a look back at, fairly relevant comics of yore, but mostly Copper Age stuff, and kind of dissect them a little bit and see if they were actually any good, or at least as good as I remember them. So this next issue kind of veers a little off the normal path that I go through, because this series kind of came out after I had gotten out of the comics game. Actually been for quite a while. This is the reimagined Marvel Knights Punisher, helmed by none other than Garth Ennis.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy!
Kind of a storied series that he ran on. So Ennis is pretty well known for crafting some very creative and kooky stories and kind of delving deep into what makes the Punisher tick. You know, a lot of the older run of Punisher, like the Volume 2 series, which is my favorite, but I mean, a lot of it's kind of left up to the reader. Every now and then you'll have a flashback scene. It's like, okay, he's motivated by the death of his family. There's not usually too much else building on that. Sometimes they'll talk about past experiences of his in Vietnam and vice versa like that. But for the most part, it's relegated to quietude, as it says. It sticks to the character and doesn't go much beyond what we already know. With Ennis's run, it kind of you get to see a little more what makes him tick, and you see a little more, not so much nuance, but you see a little more of his day-to-day activities, even though there's no microchip to deal with. You kind of see how he treats informants and people, and if nothing else, it reinforces the abundant fact that Frank is not a nice guy. He will turn on you in a second if you flub up and commit a crime that he deems punish-worthy. He's just an all-around driven machine-like character, which is interesting. But you see the way he talks in this series, as written by Ennis anyway, that while it actually goes further in that direction of him being a little more machine-like, it also gives him some more introspection, and it gives him a little more, not necessarily but I mean, it gives him a little something, a little spark, he'll make a quip every now and then, like, he's getting a little sick of this. It's like even he's getting tired of this nonsense like this living, but he feels that he's the only one that can do it. And so he keeps driving on. So the series that I was reading was ably penned by Steve Dillon and Derek Robertson. Some of their art is not too bad. I mean, I don't place it in the upper echelon of Punisher art. It's just me. I'm spoiled. Volume 2 series had some really, really, really good artists working on it, even if they weren't household names like McFarlane and all that. They'd have early Jim Lee in the Punisher War Journal days, and that was the most incredible looking run that's ever been done on the Punisher as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, Lee really nailed the Punisher well. But artwork is good throughout, colorful, and there's some really good action scenes to be had. And there's kind of like a gritty noir style to it, which is pretty nifty too. So, this set was actually sent to me, trades 2, 3, 4, and 5 were sent to me as A-OK by Unwilly Simeon. Link below to the unboxing video for said merchandise. It all kind of came about by a review I did of the Golden Only Punisher War Journals number 6 and 7. That was the legendary Punisher vs. Wolverine issues. And I guess he liked my dissection of them somewhat, so he decided he wanted to get my take on the newer stuff. And since I hadn't read it, he went ahead and sent it to me. An incredibly kind gesture. Huge box of stuff there. And he also sent me the Punisher number 1 issue, the newsstand copy no less, and it's in like perfect condition. I still may slab it. Who knows? I'm not a slab guy, but that one really deserves it. I should have had it here ready for the video, but I didn't. Anyhow, in keeping with that vein, one of the issues he really wanted me to read was the Volume 3 of the trades. And this one focuses on a pretty warped story of, let's just call them diminutive gangsters, and how they bring the competition down to size. And it, through happenstance, Wolverine actually, one is loath to call it a team up. He sort of teams up, but he doesn't team up at all with the Punisher. See, Wolverine and Frank have a very interesting dynamic. They detest each other. I don't think the Punisher himself really despises Wolverine. He doesn't hate, other than criminals, he doesn't really hate anybody. He just doesn't care about them. They're in his way. He doesn't think anyone else can see the world through the lens of his camera. And in doing so, or because of that, I mean, he just has no love lost for any of these so-called heroes. I mean, for that matter, he doesn't care if they're bad or good. He just doesn't care about them too much. He'll actively not try to kill them, but but of course, Frank and Wolverine have a history of misunderstandings with each other, and this issue is no different. I won't go too much into it because I don't want to spoil it for you guys if you haven't read it. It's definitely worth a check out. The whole series has been really great so far. The only thing I have is Volume 1, which I'll get that eventually, so I can kind of get caught up. But yeah, just a great series, very gritty. But this one in particular stands out because it just shows that Guinness, am I thinking about beer or something here? Ennis has. I don't like to say the word warp, but it seems like a warped imagination at times, and it's very creative. I'll tell you, the story and the circumstances in which Wolverine and Punisher are thrown together are there's something to say the least. Let's just say that there is a fight between the two, which is much more fleshed out, pun intended, than the first go around they had back in the early 90s. It's pretty insane, the things that Frank does to him, and it once again just kind of shows the gestalt of the man. He doesn't want things getting in his way, and he has no problem hurting somebody to make sure his ends are met. And like I said, that includes Wolverine, hero or not. I will say that in Unruly Simeon, actually, in our diatribe back and forth, kind of alluded to this somewhat. Is Wolverine's kind of made out to be something of a, not buffoon, but I almost think like Cro-Magnon, very simplistic, seems on the lower scale of intelligence, but he's a machine, man, and he goes to it. He takes it to Frank a lot, and anyone else that gets in his way. It also shows the extreme hypocrisy on Wolverine's part. I've seen this in the past too, where he gets on to people about killing, and just in this issue alone, he must kill 30 people. But he has no problem when it's him doing it, but he calls the Punisher a psycho for whatever reason. So it's fascinating the way it plays out. There's a twist toward the end that I didn't see coming a mile away. Like I said, I won't spoil it for you, but I did not see it at all. But I got to thinking about it afterwards, and I really, I'm probably overthinking a comic book too much, but that's a deadly mistake. You shouldn't always do that. But I got to think afterwards that, maybe that was actually a really good plan by him. Because, like I said, Frank is mission-oriented. Whatever it takes to complete the mission, he just does it. So, I'll just say this. He knows Wolverine has regenerative powers. And he knows that he'll recover from basically any injury. And I'll just leave it at that. That's not actually the twist. There's actually two kind of big twists in this one. But the first one I didn't see coming at all. Just when you think everything's going to be buddy cop, well, we'll just say it turns the corner. But anyway, I've rambled on about that long enough. But as far as the series goes, yeah, it's been a really enjoyable read. There's some great lines in there. It wasn't in this issue. It's another one that was dealing with the IRA and basically the British, occupation of Ireland or whatever. But long story short, at the very end, he's pitting two guys against each other. And he just kind of walks away from it after a day of doing what Frank does, killing and chasing leads down and blowing things up and escaping from death. His very last line of it, and it shows like a profile of him, walking, from behind. And he's like, I'm not sure if it's the weather here, or the air, or my job, whatever it is. And his last line says, I just know I'm tired. And that's the way the book closed. And like, that's an incredible ending to a book, and that's upper echelon writing right there. It seems so simple, but it's not, man. It's not. It's like most of the time with a character like the Punisher, a writer would fall into the trap of trying to close out on some big bravado.
The ultimate male.
I will say an example of that would be the Return to Big Nothing series, which also has one of the greatest closing lines of a book ever. But it's almost on the inverse of it, when he's saying that, criminals laugh at the justice system and the people trying to uphold it. And at the end, as he's walking past the corpse of the guy he just killed, he's like, but they don't laugh at me. So, that's, he's not saying it in a braggadocio way, because basically he's speaking to himself. He's not speaking to anybody. It's an internal thought. But, so it's just fascinating. And, but I'm tired, what a great line. And once again, it humanizes him. People don't think of Wolverine, Captain America, Thor, and all these guys as humans. They're metahumans anyway. But they never waver in their cause. They never get tired of fighting the good fight, you know, and Frank is just a man. And he's a tired man, you know, he gets no help, he takes a pounding, and, you know, he has nobody. He has no friends. He has a man named Soap, a detective named Soap in this series, who is, I can't think of a way to describe the man. He is a walking weakness. He is every vice he has, basically. You know, he's addicted to booze. He's addicted to self-loathing. He's a masochist. He's got mother issues. He runs the gambit of weaknesses, and you know, somehow Frank finds a way to make use of them. He never befriends the man, and as much as the man would probably take his friendship, because he's pretty pitiful, you know, but Frank doesn't befriend him. He just tolerates him because he's giving Frank what Frank needs, and like I said, he's a pragmatist, you know, and he knows that his life's gonna be snuffed out like that one day, so he has to make the most use of what time he has. So anyway, I'll probably wrap it up there, but highly encourage anyone to read it out there. And just once again, I really want to thank Unruly Simeon for sending these my way. I'm sorry it took so long to make this video. I had to take a break for a week or two of shooting videos. I was getting pretty crazy with all the editing and doing live streaming and work and all, and things were getting busy off the scenes here. So I'm going to try to get some more content coming at you now that I've had a chance to recharge the batteries a bit. So anyway, I'll go ahead and get on out of here now. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more comic content coming up in the future. Have a couple of interviews lined up as well in the hopefully near future. Also should have some footage from you coming from Dragon's Tail over in Tennessee. Some friends and I are gonna take a trip down there on our motorcycles and carve up some canyons for several days of motorcycle goodness. So hopefully I can get some good footage of that. And I don't know if I'll upload while I'm there. I'll probably just have my laptop, but we'll see if I can. And I'll just go ahead and leave it at that. So until next time, this is Genome, loving him some Punisher vs. Wolverine, and make sure to check it out. Out.